Oh man, welcome back to another show of He Said, She Said. If it's your first time tuning in, it's your boy Q Walker. And beside me, I have the beautiful, the intelligent, the curvaceous, the immaculate, the wonderful Miss Chrissy Jack. Go and introduce yourself for the people, Miss Chrissy Jack.
Good, y'all. One time for you, one time for your mom. I'm tired of being at work all day, but I'm still here. I got lashes on because it was in my hair today at work, but it's cool.
It's cool. Your lashes fell off at work.
No, I didn't even put them on. I don't know how I got my hair. It was just hanging on my
I was hanging at your hair.
Yeah, the girl said, "Hey, there's a lash in your hair." It was a whole strip. I appreciate the system. It was my good lashes, and I'm mad.
Good lashes.
But anyway, we got my boy to the right of me, JT. Go on, spit your verse.
Hey, what's up, guys? JT, Jarvis, whatever y'all want to call me, man. Happy to be back for another show. Got a good show for you guys. Just want to start off by saying we have Miss Kennisha Fisher on the show from Louisville, Kentucky. She is also a wife, mother of 5, a serial entrepreneur, in my opinion, owner and photographer of Once Upon a Flash. Kennisha also is the co-producer and host of Learn This with Miss.Fish. And she was recently featured in the Louisville Courier Journal, where she discussed her children's videos. And I actually checked them out. I actually checked a couple out, and they were really good. So we're going to get into the show. Bring on Miss Fisher and let her kind of introduce herself.
Hey,
What's up?
for having me. I appreciate that. Thanks for that phenomenal introduction there. I appreciate it. I just ran all my stuff down. That's cool. You are correct. Serial entrepreneur. That is so true. So true. Like, I don't think that there's anything I'm not willing to at least. I mean, my theme song is It Can't Be That Hard. It's not even a song yet, but maybe I'll write it. We'll see. But the truth is, I do a little bit of everything, but I love everything I get a chance to do. Wife, mother of 5 teenage boys. Y'all pray for me.
Okay.
I'll give you my cash out for that grocery bill later because it's a mortgage, so you can definitely put in on that. And then I have a phenomenal husband. We've been married almost 10 years. About to celebrate my milestone 40th birthday next week. It's just a good life. So I am the owner operator at Once Upon a Flash Photography, a boutique maternity, newborn, and children's photography studio here in Louisville, Kentucky. And my newest venture is, why not start a kids show? Because I don't have anything else to do in my life. So yeah, Learn This with Miss.Fish is my newest venture. A ton of fun, and it took off a little bit more than I was ready for. So that's all right. We're gonna play the back of it, get it together. We're almost ready to launch the rest of the first season. I'm pretty excited about it. But like I said, thank you so much for having me on.
No problem.
No, we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. Before we get started, real quick question. You said you're almost ready to release the first season. So do you guys like record the whole season and then release it? Or do you do it like week by week? Or how does that work?
So the way that this came about, I was actually kind of filling in some gaps for some friends who became friends. I was watching their little boy, and they are filmmakers. So they came up with this idea after seeing me with their kid for a while. They said, hey, you're really good with him. I think that this would make amazing television. They actually had talked about doing it for parents. Hey, this is how you get your kids to do this. This is how you get your kids to do that. And after a while, it kind of just kept transforming. And I was like, yeah, y'all do that. Keep me posted. Let me know how that works. And then finally, they pitched this idea of Learn This with Miss.Fish. And we just kind of do this thing where I get to talk to kiddos and do simple stuff. So I am really intentional about anything that I put out when it has to do with people's children, because kids are, they're sponges. And so whatever that they are absorbing, that's what we're insulating them with. And I didn't want to put out anything that parents didn't want for their kids. YouTube is awry with all kinds of crazy stuff that's super fast, super loud, and can sneak by you in a minute. So what we did was we actually released the beta episode, and that is what JT watched. The beta episode was real simple, real easy to do, real easy to film. And then we asked for feedback from the community. I didn't want to do any more episodes until we knew what was going to be a hit, what was going to work, and what did parents want to see. So the beta episode is on the YouTube page. It's the only full episode out. The other thing we have on the YouTube page is just kind of like a 5-minute snippet of me talking about the background of it and what we want to do with it. But the feedback we've gotten since we put it out in December was huge. So we had been planning on doing, we want to do 6 episodes a season, and we have the other 5 lined up. It's just, we're in a whole pandemic in these streets. So being able to film that hasn't necessarily happened the way we wanted, but we've got a couple of things in the works now to where we should have the next few filmed within the next month.
And for everybody who's watching, if you have questions for Miss Fisher and ourselves, just please comment. We'll put those up on the screen. Jarvis, you have something you want to ask me, man?
Yeah. So one, I just want to say, the video I watched, your whole delivery and everything is very, very smooth. And I can see where not only children, but also parents, it's very easy to watch. Mm-hmm. And your voice was really, really calming, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? When you walked into that kitchen and you started talking, I was like, oh, okay, watch this a little more. You know what I'm saying? But nah, just a kudos to you, with that. But the one thing I wanted to know is what type of diversity are you going to put on the show as far as like content wise? So is it going to be cooking? Is it going to be just straight educational? The cooking is a little bit educational because you're teaching, how to cook or whatever. But
I like that question. You ask good questions. First,
he's great.
Say it again.
I said he's great. He's dope at this. He's dope.
It works. Well, I'm glad that you did talk about the diversity of it. The reality is, the goal is to kind of Trojan horse. So this episode said, where do eggs come from? The premise of it is I go in to make a cake that I want to have for dessert. Cool. But the focus wasn't really on the cooking. The focus was on, the whole show is focused on introducing children to people they can learn from that don't look like what you expect. Mm-hmm. It is very well known that most people don't interact with their first Black educator in a K-12 setting until they're closer to middle school or high school. So predominantly nationwide, over 78% of kindergarten through 7th grade teachers are white women. And while my children have had phenomenal teachers, I've had phenomenal teachers that qualify as white women. The truth is, by the time you get to your first Black educator, your mind is already crafted into what people should look like that teach. Yeah. So my thought was, let's get in front of that bus. Let's get in front of it and put an opportunity for us to teach children that other people are people you can learn from. And Miss.Fish really is like a side-by-side teaching experience. I want kids to go along and learn something with me. So I'm going to be looking to other people to teach. So we actually go to the farm, and the farmer is not an older white guy in overalls. It's a younger woman with tattoos on her arm. Mm-hmm. So seeing someone that doesn't necessarily match what we expect is something I want to expose children to. So everything has a reason. So we go to Farmer Val's farm. She shows us the chickens and the ducks. She explains to us what chickens are. She shows us parts of a chicken. I get to hold a chicken. That was wild. And then Valerie was like, we literally are shooting this script as we go so that we can kind of hear what it sounds like to a 3 or 4 year old. And she said, make sure that we say chickens lay about an egg a day. So there's plenty for us to share, because there's going to be one kid who's like, y'all just out here snatching these eggs from these chickens. So you have to think like a kid. You have to think like a 3-year-old. You have to really kind of get on their level and see what's going to work. And then I go back to the kitchen because now we've solved the problem. And now we get to have this experience of waiting. So in the kitchen scene, I put everything together. I put it in the stove and I'm like, well, it's going to take 15 minutes. What can I do for 15 minutes? Showing kids that things don't just happen automatically. Sometimes you have to wait. Sometimes you have to entertain yourself. And all of those things are really about the compassionate kindness that we want to teach, mindfulness to young children. Because like you said, on YouTube, everything it's like being a, photographer term. It's like being in a fisheye lens. And a fisheye lens opens you up so that the peripheral can be seen. It's all of it. But you can't focus on one thing when it's that big. And that's what kids' TV is right now. It's flash, bam, colors, this, that, noise. And then we expect kids to be able to sit still in school. Well, that's not what we're teaching them. But if you go back to when I was younger, you've got the LeVar Burtons and the Fred Rogers and the Sesame Streets where things were processed. Sesame Street was an hour, y'all.
Yeah.
Ask the kid to sit still for an hour right now.
I was on Sesame Street.
You was?
Yeah.
That is cool.
I'm on old clips.
Hey, I'm gonna need to see that. Sesame
Street. I was cute too.
But
that's real. Kids are definitely learning different nowadays.
So my niece, she just turned 5 today, and she's on YouTube. I'm talking about, but she's watching all these shows, and I'm like, what are you watching? Like, then she starts acting out some of the stuff that they're doing.
Correct.
And she thinks it's okay. I mean, they're yelling at their parents, and I'm like, wait a minute. You know, we really have to watch what she's watching because she's clicking on all these videos.
And it's quick. It's quick. It's you can click one, you can click the next one.
Yes.
You can give her something, and that's what you told her to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Scroll and click while that video's
Yeah,
on.
it comes up as you're watching. It clicks on something else. So,
and what you said doesn't stop. What you said, she's 5. She's mimicking these videos she's seeing. I have 15-year-old boys to where they watch a couple TikToks enough, and that becomes their language. So that's what they're going to do forever. So why not start very young and getting them the opportunity to sit? And like you said, it's a 10-minute long video. But one thing that, like, one of my friends, LJ, he always says I have an NPR voice. Thank you for listening to NPR. So yeah, I do try. I do try to mellow it out. I do try to slow it down and give kids the words so that they can digest it and wait a couple of seconds and let them see how they feel about it. But there's a couple of things we want to introduce that do get a little bit more, I don't even want to use the word controversial, but, you know, we want to talk about, why does someone get sad? We want to talk about, why is our skin different? We definitely want to hit the corner and go, what does it mean to say no? Because when you can break that down for a 2 or a 3-year-old, you're giving them enough power to learn about things on an emotional level that really ground them and make it easier for them to function in the world. So that's the goal.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Speaking on like diversity and they're younger, so I noticed, I mean, so my niece was watching a Barbie show, right? And my daughter actually brought it to my attention. So they have the little Barbies and they're in there doing it, and they go swimming. And so they have the black Barbies and the white Barbies. So the white Barbies, they get in the water and their hair's all long. They get out and do this, right? So then the black Barbie, she's like, oh my God, it's beautiful. The black Barbie gets in there and her hair goes, she was like, oh my God, it's a mess. Like it goes in an afro. So then that's teaching my niece. She said, I don't want my hair a mess like her. You know what I mean? Most people don't even realize what they're saying or what their kids are watching. So when you see the white doll, it's telling them that the long is long, you know, hair is long and beautiful, and the afro is not, it's messy.
Yep.
So are those some things that you plan on including as far as being able to teach them to love, you know, their natural hair, or, you know, like you said, the skin color, or just the difference?
You are correct. You're hitting the nail on the head. The point is, like, one thing that I plan on doing with each episode is wearing my hair in a different way. Because subconsciously, there are a lot of kids who meet me, like I'll take their daycare pictures and then I'll come back and I'll have my hair in a different way. And they'll be like, oh, that's not Miss Kennisha. Because the people who they're around on a regular basis, their hair doesn't change as often as mine does, or different ways that mine can. So it really throws them off. I've had a child mid photo shoot. I am posing her newborn sister in her lap, and she keeps looking at me and looking up at my face and looking at my hands, posing the baby. She goes, why are you so dark? You could, no joke, you could hear her mom's butthole just like go up. She was like she got a whole 1.5 inches taller, because her immediate reaction was, oh, don't say, don't correct her. She didn't say anything wrong. She asked an honest question. The truth is, why you were uncomfortable was that means your baby ain't been around black people. But that's something that you now have to take on yourself.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it is. So we had a great conversation right there. I was like, well, it's dark because I have something in my skin called melanin, and I have more of it than you.
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she was like, can you wash it off? So you're seeing these wheels turn in this baby's head. I said, no, I look like this all the time. I look like this when I was a baby, and I look like this when I'm a big kid. I said, just like you look like you did when you were a baby. And she goes, does it hurt? Because in her mind, the last time somebody got super brown, they got a sunburn.
Yeah.
And so she was like, she's trying to piece it together. I said, no, it's not like a burn. My skin stays this way. And so I said, here, I'll show you another picture of me. This was a little while ago. My skin is always like this, just like my hair is darker and my eyes are brown. I said, we look different. I said, but how many fingers do you have? 10. I said, so do I. I said, and I've got all these teeth that I eat my breakfast with, and I've got 2 ears and a nose, just like you. And she's like, you see it going, the only difference is you happen to be a little bit more brown than me.
Yeah.
So being able to take that moment without her being shamed and shut down by her parents gave her an opportunity to see that it was okay to ask the question that she didn't know.
Yeah.
So that helps.
Yeah.
See, and I think that comes in a lot of like parents, that they're not having these discussions. It does become embarrassing because then they don't want people to think, oh my God, I don't think I'm racist because my child asked something like this.
That's true too.
You know, I mean, I've been in a situation. I was in Fiji, and the kids, I guess they're from New Zealand or whatever, right? They go to Fiji like it's Disney World, right? They don't go. We're on the bus, like the kids are pointing. And so the lady said they've never seen a Black person in like a day in their life in real life.
Right.
And they were so confused. They was like, look at them. I mean, literally pointing. And their parents were just like this. And I mean, it made me feel awkward because I'm looking around. And so a lady told her, she was like, please don't be offended. She's like, you know, these children have come from a place where they have never seen
a Black person
in real life. I mean, think about that. That's so crazy.
Well,
I mean,
that happened to me in Fairdale.
So 2014.
2014.
That's
2014.
And that's kind of good that you giving people that outlet, right? Because just like you said, you got parents who are, you know what I'm saying, they uncomfortable with it. So if they're uncomfortable with it, how they gonna teach their children in the proper way? You know, and the way you handled that whole situation, not everyone in your shoe would have handled that, you know, that situation the same. So everyone in that situation had to be mature enough to realize, like, okay, we are the mature adults that need to teach this child who you know does not have the knowledge of this. But your show is going to provide that outlet even for parents who feel like maybe I can't talk about this. Let Miss.Fish talk about this and show them in that way. So yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and like you said, not just even for our people, like you said, just even everybody. For them to say, hey, you know what? I don't know how to explain it. Sit down and watch this. Miss.Fish.
Watch Miss.Fish.
Miss.Fish will teach this.
Miss.Fish will teach.
And the goal really is to not like hyper focus on whatever diversity and inclusion. It's to literally play it alongside whatever we're learning so that it becomes seamless. Like the next episode that we're working on right now is basically it's about how to read a story. So Miss.Fish ends up going to the library where we meet this phenomenal librarian who like introduces us to the fact that books have all this knowledge. And there's different types of books and different levels of books, and that the library is a great place for people to be able to go to see these books, to use the computers, to get help. So while we're there, so it's just right alongside of us. While we're there, we're introduced to a woman named Kyle. And Kyle's going to come out and she's going to introduce herself in a weird way. She's going to say, hi, my name is Kyle and I have on glasses and my dress is green. And I have 2 rings on my hand, because what she's doing is Kyle is providing a visual for children who are visually impaired. And what she's going to do is she's going to introduce us to the fact that while some people can read books with their eyes, other people use their hands or they use a larger print book. Let me introduce you to Braille, because she works at the printing house for the blind. So when she saw the way we were teaching, she reached out. But it's not going to be, hey, there's blind people, let's learn about them. It's going to be, this is what I'm doing. And sometimes other people have to do things differently.
That's awesome.
Just skim the surface and allow kids to realize, we are not born to be selfless. We are born to be selfish. Like newborns are nothing but parasites, if you think about it. They're cute. Don't get me wrong. They pay my bill. Right. They do not care about anybody else. They don't care if you sleep. They don't care if you eat. Even while they're in your body as a pregnant person, the truth is they'll take your calcium and your teeth will fall out. They'll take you everything. So the truth is we're not born selfless, but teaching children how to just stop and think that it may be different for someone else is going to change their lives.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's
all that content. And all that content, just like Chrissy said, it's the subconscious. So even like watching something else on YouTube, or like you was talking about the TikTok, like people are putting a message in it. Like it's subconscious. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't necessarily. You don't have to put out there, that this is this in order for it to start processing and playing in a kid's head. Eventually, it starts piecing itself together up there. So. It's good that you're not solely focused on this, or this, but you slided it in there along with what you're doing, and subconsciously the kids are going to pick it up, and it'll change their mentality for the better. So
it's almost like they're learning without realizing they're learning.
Exactly. Sure. That's the best way.
That's how she's doing it. Is she's made it to where it's engaging and they're watching, and like you said, subconsciously they're learning without even realizing that they're learning. So Learn with Miss.Fish.
Listen, when I'm gonna put my niece onto it, I'm telling you, I got 3 kids, but when they're not kids, no, we're 26, 23, and 20. My niece just turned 5. She told me the other day she was white, and I was like, "No, you're not." She's like, "I'm white, you black," because her dad's mixed, and I didn't even know how to explain to her. And she said, "So I'm black." I did. I literally was like, I'm
black. To break down. Whenever you're explaining something to a child, you have to be very, very careful because you get as many sentences as they are old. So she's 5. That means in 5 sentences, you have to explain everything you want her to understand. That's all you get. After that is filler. They can't process it. So if you're talking to a 2-year-old and you want them to not touch the stove, you don't say, "Hey, I want you to know that when I use the stove gets really warm. And the problem with you coming over and trying to touch stuff is that you're gonna burn it." A 2-year-old's gonna be like, "I'm touching it." Like they right. But if you go, "Hey, don't touch that. It's hot. It will hurt you." A 2-year-old's gonna hear your voice change. They're gonna see your adamancy, and they're gonna go, "I need to at least hear this out." That's all you get. And that's why the first 5 years of a kid's life is nothing but it's like a Labrador. No, stop, don't, get down, quit, stop, no. Like you're just repeating single phrases. But with that 5-year-old, you now have this weird paragraph. But after that, it's over. So you now have to tell her, "I know that I am browner than you are, but you are definitely black. And you're black because your parents come from people who were black." That's the basis of the sentence.
I like that. For her birthday, I'm gonna call and tell her on the phone.
I'll tell you, "Hey girl, it's your birthday, you black." But it has to be that simple. And then what we do that we don't do often is you have to stop and let her process that and hear how she took it. Because she's gonna go, "No, I'm not. I'm white." And you're gonna go, "Why do you think that?" And if she shows you her skin, or eventually you'll get down to the layer that tells you where she got that idea from. And that's where you've got to take that. And so many people want to isolate their children from problems. The best thing you can do is insulate your children from the problems. Allow them to be in the problem, but give them the padding of who they are in the core so that when the problems hit them, they've got something to bounce off of. Isolating them, when they finally get out into the world will tear them up. You've got to put something in the center of them.
I feel like I need to start all over again.
Man, I feel like she's dropping jewels in this
listen,
joint.
I'm trying for baby just so you can take them. I need to
go. Before you decide that, you might want to meet my kids because they wild. I'm not gonna lie, it's 5 of them. Like it's a circus over there. So before you say disclaimer, I have visible proof walking around in the world right now that might not be your best bet. But no,
listen, I need a do-over.
Shoot, I do too. But the thing I tell people all the time, my dad used to tell me, it really is about learning how to be wise instead of smart. He said there's plenty of dumb people. They go around and they make dumb choices over and over again. They don't think about what they say. They don't think about what they do. Then there's smart people. Smart people going to get knocked around a little bit, but at some point they're going to figure it out. They're going to straighten up. They're going to get it together. Wise people are the people who had enough people that made mistakes to show them what that looks like and to insulate them so that they can be wise and avoid things. People think, "Oh, you got to go through something to be a grown-up. You got to go." You ain't got to go through nothing. You could literally just live in a way that is good for you and good for the world around you.
Don't y'all steal it. I'm gonna put that on the shirt.
I'm stealing a whole bunch of stuff she does say tonight.
But like you said about kids, I read something not too long ago where they were speaking on, we don't allow our children to be humans, because we tell them you can't have an attitude, you can't feel this way. And it's like, listen, they have feelings too, they hurt too, they have these issues, but us growing up, I just know in the Black household is you don't got no nerves, put your nerves in the pocket, put somebody getting on your nerves and stop crying. And but I'm emotional, I'm hurting. Like, you have to allow me to be able to express that, which then goes into adulthood. Like they said, what was it that we were talking about recently? Like the women, the guys telling the young girls, men ain't nothing but dogs, don't do this, and then expect them to not think that men are dogs when they grow up. And the same thing with, moms telling guys, the same thing. Women ain't this and women ain't that. And or stop crying. But why aren't you emotional?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
men telling their sons, you know, not to show emotion, stop crying. Men don't cry. This, that, and the third. So when they get older, and they meet a woman, they don't know how to show emotion now because they was taught all their life men don't show emotion. So he's done ruined Holly's relationships, and then I'm talking about myself, but y'all won't.
Yeah,
then we just start talking about myself. But now I'm where
don't talk about Daddy Q.
Quentin, I mean, I charge you an hourly fee if you want to work through some of that, brother. We can talk it through.
Inspired you guys to start the show.
You listen to the beginning of the show?
She's out. I mean, do you have the scissors in your pocket, sis? You just be.
It's all right, bro. It's all right. You gotta learn with Miss.Fish.
No, I mean, like,
look, you gotta count how many sentences he didn't heard. I don't know how old Q.
How old are you, Governor?
Yeah, maybe we didn't get his sentences.
I didn't heard more than 38. I didn't heard more than 38.
We had more than 38 sentences, bro. That's what happened. I got you.
The people she was working with, she was working with their kids, and they seen it and they liked it and say, "Hey, we should do a show." She's like, "Okay, do your thing," and then it just kind of snowballed.
Man,
and here we are.
Look, man, I got.
Did I get that?
Once we got out,
you got it. You nailed it.
My bad. My therapy session got y'all off. My bad, bro.
You got warm right here.
Miss.Fish.
Hey, you got it all the way right. I feel you. But you know what? To go along with y'all are saying, especially, you know, Quentin, you dropping it down how, you know, we tell men that they can't be emotional. I put every single year around prom time, I put the same thing on my Facebook page. The day, the hour that one of my sons pops up to take one of these girls to the prom, and her daddy, her uncle, her brother, her whoever shows up and brings a firearm outside to meet my child, honey, she ain't going to nobody's prom, because what's going to happen is you're going to have a terroristic threatening warrant. You're going to have an assault on a minor warrant. You're going to have whatever charge I can find, because here's the problem. You're telling me you just met my child and you have already told your daughter and my son that he is the problem, and somehow you need to keep your child safe. Well, what you didn't do was you didn't insulate your daughter enough to where she would pick the type of dude to take her to the prom you wouldn't have.
Come on, girl.
So that's on you. Do not ever demean my child to make him think that somehow just by having a penis, he's a problem.
Ooh.
Problem is you haven't done the work to where you feel safe sending your daughter out, or you've done the work, but you know you trash. And so
you doing shows for adults too?
I was gonna say, do you do adult shows?
Adult shows?
Hey, but you know the Bad Boys 2 didn't help that out at all.
Yeah, that's what
that was offensive. Like if I see Will Smith in the street, I'd be like, "Hey, bro, good job on your career. It was trash what you did in Bad Boys." Like, I'm gonna say it because we can't keep convincing men that communication is weak. We can't keep telling them that showing their emotions makes them simp. The way they're going after Russell Wilson right now for just loving his wife,
yeah, that's true.
Catch on fire in your sleep. Like, real talk. Why would you ever talk bad about a man who celebrates his wife?
Right, girl.
So, but you know what? That is something, and this goes around to the circle. I say this a lot. I am 100% a product of what I call stable privilege. So, you know, back when like white privilege really became a saying a couple years ago, and white people lost it. They was like, I grew up poor. My parents were working people.
Yeah.
Just got tight right here.
Right.
And I was like, why do y'all take that so personal? Like, calm down. It's just a term. It applies whether you was poor or not. And it took that for me to realize I have stable privilege. I came from a household where I had two parents who grew up in dysfunction, who made it a concentrated effort to not bring dysfunction to their children's lives. So I have a great relationship with my father. I was told early and often that I was allowed to have a voice, an opinion. I was still gonna fall in line, but it wasn't gonna be. We tell children stay in a child's place, but then we make them act like adults.
Yeah.
So early and often, I was shown a relationship conflict and how that worked out in public. Like my parents never yelled at one another, but they would allow us to see their conflict. And we were allowed to fail at things. Like we were given the opportunity, try it out, see what happens. What's the worst that could happen?
Right.
And whatever the worst is, we got your back. To have that, I don't have another person in my immediate circle who grew up with that. Not one person.
Yeah.
The reality of that is that makes my life completely different. And it's not until you talk to someone and you say something like, I mean, why don't you just try it? What's the worst that could happen? And they look at you like literally everything could go bad. And you realize that you can't project that onto somebody else because they've never heard that. They've never heard that there's a soft place to land when you make a mistake. It doesn't define who you are. So for me, like being able to teach that to my children, being able to teach that to other people, and being able just to have the confidence to say, you are who you are, the sum of all things that you are. You're complete within itself. I tell people all the time, like, you have it in you already. And if it hasn't been developed, I really hate that for you. But we can start now.
Kennisha, I'm trying to come lay on your couch, girl.
Man,
Like,
listen.
I'm over it. Like, I know it's about the kids, but I'm over it like.
No, see, she brought a good point. Iman Shumpert, who's a basketball player, he brought up the point of we have to stop telling kids, put that down when they pick up something, because what they're picking up, it could lead to them doing something in life. And he brought the example of, you see your kid and they pick up a camera, don't tell them put that down. Let them play with it, figure it out. They might want to be a photographer when they grow up. Like, you have to allow these kids to, like you said, fail and make mistakes and figure out what they like and what they don't like. But every time a kid does something, you can't say, stop, don't do that, put that back.
Or explain, I know you ain't gonna look and pick up your camera though.
Nah, your camera's like $2,000. Your Jarvis gonna be like, hey, sit your
She got cameras.
I mean,
At least be able to explain it to them. Stop. Don't just say
stop, put it down.
Right.
Yeah.
Explain to them.
Explain to them how it works.
I try to get my kids to do it. I try to get my kids to pick up the camera and just play with it, you know, just to see. Because I'm like, man, there's so much opportunity in it.
Y'all leave them alone. Y'all leave them alone. But you know what? First of all, you got two problems in that scenario. Number one, if your knee-jerk reaction is to tell a kid, stop, put that down, it's because you haven't established what the relationship is with that child to be able to know what that child can handle. Number two, why was your camera somewhere they could pick it up? Mm-hmm. Like, that's on you. Like, when parents come into my studio, I immediately tell them, hey, if it's hands off, it's put up. Because they'd be like, oh, don't touch that. I'd be like, if I have it out, that's my responsibility. So we can't keep blaming kids for stuff we don't want to take care of. I have a really good, I call him my parent mentor. He's told me one time, he says, every child has a currency. When you're disciplining your child, you know to use their currency. If you claim you don't know what your child's currency is, the truth is you don't want to use it because it's going to cost you more than them.
It's another jewel. I need a jewel dropping button.
She got bars.
Don't she though?
Listen, he knocked me off my socks with that one, because it was a little bit of a call out, I ain't gonna lie. Because at the time my son was acting a straight donkey, and I thought about it, and his currency is social. Like, to not be able to go with his friends, to not be able to hang out, to not be able to be on his phone. But if I took that away from him, guess who was going to have to be the person to feel that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, like, did I want to stop what I was doing to address the fact that he would need more of me if I took away the currency I knew I was supposed to?
Yeah.
We can't keep holding kids accountable for stuff we're supposed to do.
Man, I want to kind of circle back around to the whole Russell Wilson thing. Like, it's crazy to me that people are blasting him, but, you know, ain't nobody making a huge deal on Future not being a responsible, you know, father and the things he's done. You know what I'm saying?
But they said they won't. But what they said is they want somebody that looks like Future, that acts like Russell.
Yeah, but that's the man. Thing. That's well. Good luck.
I was gonna say good night and good luck.
Like,
I mean, and I'm not even sitting here saying that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think no one's physical appearance defines who they are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let me just first say that. But in the context of how they are saying it, right? Like, they saying it basically like, regardless if they say they want someone who look like Future, or look like Future but acts like Russell. Is that what it is?
That's what they're saying online. Yeah.
I mean, regardless of what they saying, when they say stuff like that, they looking for a future. They looking for a future all the way around. That's what they want. That's what they glorifying.
But this is the thing. I don't know about y'all, but it's not me hearing the women saying it. It's me hearing the guys say it.
The guys are the ones.
What is your prayer?
No, gross.
Well, I think when guys refer to that, right? So it could be like good upstanding men like me and Q Walker right here. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And we looking at it like, you know, why the, you know, the women chasing these bad boys that's how we looking at it. Because we upstanding men.
I'll never understand that logic as to why women don't go for the quote unquote clean looking dudes, but they rather chase after the future
Because
who
women,
they know.
I wish I had
know. I know this may not
women
be the time
love toxicity. Is what they said. It's something about it. It's something about it. They said they don't know what it is.
Now, you know what? Toxic women love toxic men.
Exactly.
That's what they say. I'm toxic.
Exactly.
That's what they say. And it don't matter how many degrees you have, because that's what they was talking about. I don't care what you're doing. Like, I don't purpose. They was like, it's something about it looks toxic, like a toxic man. I'm like, what?
But the reality is like two toxic people will never, you know what I'm saying? If a woman is toxic and I ain't that, I'm not gonna deal with that. I'm right. Oh, you.
Yeah.
And that's when you're gonna be weak and you don't ever want to do.
Yeah, nah, I'm out.
I'm too strong. That doesn't have to stereotype. It doesn't have to be a particular type of person. The truth of the matter is, if you say take the sentence you just said, Chrissy, and take it and put it in any other sentence. I just want a little bit of toxic. Do you want a little bit of toxic taco salad from Taco Bell? No, that's right. Because guess what? You're gonna have a problem. You're gonna be calling customer service like, y'all taco salad. But you want a little bit of toxic life partner?
I agree.
Yeah.
Like, we don't take toxic from anything else. Let your car make one noise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let anything happen. Let your boss say one thing.
Yeah.
But we people actually say, well, I just want a little bit of bad boy. The good dudes are too boring. Girl, what kind of trouble you want? Like, I've never understood ride or die culture. Like, I just wanted to go to Qdoba. I don't necessarily need to die. That's not my goal in life. I get excitement from like playing Mario Brothers. I occasionally like to go to the movies. I don't have to ride or die anywhere. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, why is that a fulfillment factor?
But it circles back around to everything we've talked about with how we subconsciously, when we scrolling through Instagram, when we scrolling through Facebook, when we scroll, YouTube, what we seeing as being glorified, like subconsciously, you know what I'm saying? We looking at it like, oh, okay, this dude acts like this and he gets this girl.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
okay.
Here's how you change that, JT. Just like people are about to do their kids when they put Learn This with Miss.Fish on instead of them Barbie shows that make their kids think that. You need to change what's in your news feed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that in my news feed.
Yeah.
You act a fool. I mean, it's real quick. It's just unfollow, unfriend, whatever it is. Stop ingesting that. If you're lactose, well, I'm not going to use this because I know like a whole bunch of people who know they're lactose intolerant and still will just be in Dairy Queen. But like, if you know that that's triggering, if you know that causes you to look at yourself and question whether or not you're doing the right thing, let that go real quick. You don't have to hold on to that. Nobody's making you.
Yeah.
Absolutely feel free to let that go. If your children are ingesting things that they shouldn't, like, people will call poison control. You need to call poison control on your own life. And maybe that's finding somebody to hold you accountable to the fact that that's not really what you want. Finding people who emulate the type of healthy relationships or lifestyle that you want, and having mentors. We have mentors for everything else. People intern, they get mentors for work, they read parent books. But the second we're ready to get into a relationship, or even sometimes the second we're ready to have kids, we think we just got to dress them up, send them to school, somebody else does the work. That's your job.
Damn.
Your relationship is your job.
Yeah.
Well, somebody made the comment. They said, "I see what you got to do to get a good man. You got to go through Future." Because they said, Sierra, they said to get a good man, you got to go through Future. That's what you're gonna have to do.
Listen, even with all my stable privilege, I still got a whole ex-husband. So apparently that must be right. I don't know, maybe.
I don't even know how we got here.
He circle back around.
Circle back around
to Russell.
Hey, she dropping jewels though. I'm with it.
I am too.
Hey, adult day with Miss.Fish. It ain't just for the kids.
Yeah.
Today's show's for the kids. We're going to do a part 2, adult day with Miss.Fish, and let us drop some more juice and help people out like myself on the couch.
Miss.Fish gonna have to be a every 6 week regular return.
You let me know. That's when Miss.Fish will pour a little bit of bourbon Throw a little bit of lemon juice in it. We're gonna holler through. We're gonna get it together.
Miss.Fish after dark.
You can't put that out there yet. I got to clean. They're gonna pick it up. Next thing you know, I'm gonna have BET scrolls on my season. Hold on, bro. Watch it. It's a kid's show.
Hold on. We got a comment real quick. Let me pull this up.
What's up?
Comment.
Go ahead, JT. You want to read while I try to figure out who said this real quick?
So the comment says you all need to do an event this spring for your teenagers that don't have role models and will be getting into relationships and not knowing what to be looking for. Y'all have some intelligent people on your platform like Miss.Fish. Speak to the community, you guys.
I like that.
Yeah,
Renee. I think
Let me
it's.
see.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Ashaya.
Yeah.
And
Ashaya
I'm
Renee.
glad that you made that comment
Yeah.
because that is something that we have spoke about being intentional about, really connecting with our community with some real good useful information for the community, right?
Right.
We want to be diversified in our content as well, but definitely getting stuff like having Miss.Fish on to drop these jewels. We need one of them clue bomb things that we drop every time she say something.
Yeah.
Now I will say just a comment to what the Facebook user's comment was. The only thing that I would change about that sentence, hey, you said her name right. Hey, that's real. Because if somebody like Siri calls me Kennisha, it makes me so bad. I'm so mad. But
I already know what you're gonna say. What you're gonna change? We're gonna say it.
what am I gonna say? I want to hear you say it. Please tell me.
What are you gonna talk about? The role models?
No, not even the role models. The problem is if you're waiting to give teenagers role models, you waited too long. Like we still need to help that out. But the truth of the matter is you can teach your 2, 3, 5, 8-year-olds about, we need to stop telling little girls that little boys like them when they pick on them. Start there. Mm-hmm. You need to start teaching somebody said, stop teaching little girls how to not get raped and teach little boys not to be rapists. Like you're focusing on the wrong thing. Somebody said, if women dressing provocatively was a problem, how come we don't have more lesbians in jail for attacking women?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Wait a minute. So when you think about it, it's never been about the things we make it about. It's just to give men a pass. Why are we making girls go home because they got spaghetti straps on their shirts and it could be distracting? What are you looking at? Boy, you got a whole school lesson to look at. Stop making it about what little girls do. And if we have to get to the point where teenagers need role models for relationships, we've already missed a window. They've already got their preconceived notions. They've already watched you be in a relationship, whatever type it is. That starts when you pick up your child and you teach them that you are going to respond to their needs as an infant and that they should want to be around people who respond to their needs. And you just constantly have that format in your conversation with your children about how they should deserve to be treated. No young woman worth her weight in salt is ever going to let some dude talk to her crazy when she's never been talked to like that at home.
Yeah.
I think I seen a post where someone was talking about relationships and expectations. She said, I remember one day that she said my husband or my fiance at the time yelled and it startled me. And once he seen that, just did it startle me. She said he has never raised his voice or yelled another day in our whole marriage just because he's seen what it did to me.
Yeah.
And she was like, get you somebody that respects you and understands, your needs and your wants, and like that is not okay. But like you were saying about the whole we said as far as like the come on y'all, what she said at the beginning, little girls, stop telling little boys if they pick on you that they like you, because then women grow up feeling like, well, he loves me. If he hits me, it's because he loves me. And we tell our kids, I only whip you because I love you.
Well, there's that.
So what are they thinking when they grow up and then they man's putting their hands on them, telling them, if I didn't love you, if I didn't care, I wouldn't do it. Well,
and to your point, let me tell you something. There's so many people who are afraid to not physically discipline their children because that's what they did with their older kid and it somehow worked. You are more than welcome to have a new set of ideas.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to try something different. Because let me tell you something. You have the same problems out of the kid that you physically disciplined that you did, whether you physically discipline them or not. And you know, I am guilty of that when my children were smaller. And it wasn't necessarily the regular in my household, but you know, I grew up with Black parents who had that as their belief system. Mm-hmm. Now that I am older, I 100% can see. And another thing I've done is I've learned how to apologize to my children.
Yes.
Yeah.
You apologize to somebody at Subway when they get your sandwich wrong. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. How come you can't say that to your children? Like, if you love them, apologize to them. If you make a mistake, if you say something out of anger, apologize to them. Just try it out. See what happens. Just try it out. But you're right. Like, and here's the thing, and I don't want to neglect what that Facebook user said about the teenagers with role models. If we get to that point, we absolutely should have role models. But we have to have couples who are transparent enough to tell the truth. Don't be out here talking about how great your relationship is. Y'all have never had a bad day. He brings me flowers and she does my laundry. Y'all, sometimes we ready to kill each other. Mm-hmm. I told my husband, I said, our anniversary was last October, and woke up that morning and he said, we've been married for 9 years. I said, we have. I said, it feels like 9 minutes underwater. Love you. Because it's like, there's been some days where it feels like, how in the world can two imperfect people love each other perfectly? You can't. There's going to be a lot of pain. And if we would tell kids that, if we would tell young couples that, we would save them a lot of heartache, because we walking around here, you know, getting, you know, taking anniversary trips and posting Woman Crush Wednesdays, and tell these kids the truth. That y'all struggle regularly.
Because even in a sense, like, you know, just you saying that, you know, people, you know, you see what like a Russell and Sierra show you, or, you know, what someone show you. But I think one of the greatest things, I mean, not one of the greatest things that ever happened, but, you know, something that I think kind of opened up like some people's eyes is, you know, well, from a celebrity standpoint, was the Jay-Z Beyonce thing. When that whole kind of thing went off. Now they kept it, you know, pretty.
They cleaned it up.
But it was like, whoa, hold on, like, you know, and it was like, hold on, Dad, you cheated on Beyonce?
Yeah.
and it kind of opened people's eyes to like, okay, what I thought was this, but then they kind of brought it out in their music in itself as well. And, you know, for them, it may have been a, you know, a therapeutic way to release. But, you know, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know them personally.
I do.
Why they not show?
I was just about.
They busy right now. I can't get a hold of them, man. They busy right now.
Why we still sitting here? Why they ain't on show?
Man, we got to grind. They just don't want to give me a handout. They said you got to grind to get your way up there. So that's all that is.
That's not what happened. That's not what happened.
I'll let you. I'll talk to you. Don't worry about it.
But that's all good knowledge, man. Because I mean, as a parent myself, you know, and I think you have to be willing as a parent. You can't be stubborn, because as a parent myself, I have learned just, you know, that I cannot be, you know, the same person that my dad was to me.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I've had to learn, and, you know, the apologizing thing, like you said, like that's one thing that I've always kind of told my son, and that I've always wanted to do, because I resented that from my pops for so long. Like and I never understood why he just never, like, you know, because it was times, you know, and I'm gonna tell like a little brief story. Mm-hmm. But I remember a time me and my brothers were downstairs, and, you know, we was arguing, doing all this and that. My dad was like, you know, y'all need to quiet down there. And my older brother, like, you know, made a loud noise again. Da 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 da. And my dad came downstairs and he whooped me because he thought it was me. And when he got finished whooping me, and while he was whooping me, I'm like, Daddy, it wasn't me. And he just, you know, he had me by the one arm, you know, he let me go and was just like, oh, whoop my brother, and then walk back upstairs. Didn't apologize or nothing. And I'm like,
sitting here 38 years old on March the 4th, and that's still messes with you.
Traumatized from it. And I mean,
what made you bigger than that? What made you bigger than sorry?
Exactly. And that's one thing, like, but that was one thing, you know, for me, when I go through experiences, I really try to learn from it. And I just remember all those times as a kid when I would like witness stuff or be involved with stuff, you know, with with my dad with the parenting and stuff like that. If it was something that I didn't like, I remember I would just always tell myself, like, you know, when I get older, I'm never doing that to my kids.
Yeah.
But then when I got, you know, when I had my son, you know, I started to kind of see my dad come out of me some, but I would, you know, every time I would do it,
right,
sometimes I would catch myself in the actions and, oh, well, hold on, stop. You know, I would like almost, you know, see and hear my dad in me. And then sometimes it would take for me to do it. But every time I did it, I would legit apologize to my son. Like, you know, look, I'm sorry, you know, daddy didn't mean to, you know, daddy said this, and, you know, daddy probably shouldn't have said that, or daddy probably shouldn't have did that. You know, I try to do that because of how I guess you could call it, you know, being traumatized from it. And it is some, you know,
100% trauma.
Yeah,
it's 100% trauma.
And after going through some therapy and stuff like that, you know.
Hey, hold on, full stop. Take a second and preach that to the mountaintops. Go to therapy, like real talk. And don't go for like 4 weeks and be like, check. Go to therapy. If you don't like the therapist, find another therapist. Go to therapy. Even if ain't nothing wrong. Even if you having a good day, go to therapy. Because let me tell you something. You need to go to therapy. If you can hear me, if your ears work, if the closed captionings are on because your ears don't work, go to therapy. Like, just do it. It'll change who you are.
That needs to be made to be, I mean, normalize that, because people think you only go to therapy when you have problems. No,
you go to therapy before you have problems.
Yes.
I'm gonna get a shirt. It's just that in the Black community, it's frowned upon to go to a therapist. It's always been a
stigma.
Something's wrong with you. You crazy. You're like,
I'm not even gonna lie to you though. Like I was so like, you know, I was so hesitant because I was just like, man, like, you know, like I felt too vulnerable at the time, and I was just like, man, I don't know if I want to even let nobody into this or whatever, you know. But the therapist I saw, like, you know, she made me feel comfortable day one, and then it was just like she was bringing stuff up out of me, and, you know, I mean, it was times during my session where I'm like, you know, I couldn't even help but, you know, get emotional, and I'm crying. I'm like, man, like, you know, this is a lot, and then to think like, you know, I've held on to this for so long, and for her to kind of be like, well, you know, this, and this, and then we could trace it back to something. And I'm like, man, I could see how that, you know, that, okay, this comes from a little bit of that or all of that.
Yeah.
And I could trace it back. And then once I could understand it, you know, I could process it better and move forward better and kind of operate a little better, you know, and think about everything else moving forward a little better. So
I side eye my therapist once a month. Like, she'll say something, I'll be like, girl, we're gonna have to table that because I'm today. Gone. And like I said, here I am with stable privilege, still going to therapy. You want to know why? Because life will still kick you in the face, like regular. Even if everything went well, there's stuff that really traumatizes you, and we compartmentalize that stuff and we soak it down and we act like it's not a problem. But one day it's gonna surface. Look, throw a body in Ohio, it's gonna come back somewhere.
It's gonna float back up at some point in time, man.
On somebody's bank somewhere. So that's what happens. You know, we have people who, you have a baby and you don't know how to let go of the person you were before, and you carrying that corpse around with you. You get in a relationship and you don't necessarily know how to let go of how to not communicate. You carrying that corpse around and it's heavy. You're gonna throw it somewhere and it's gonna surface. Go to therapy, talk to somebody, have somebody you can trust to meet you that is skilled enough to tell you what those issues are. And it's okay. Like, I really want to, because what people will say is, well, just pray about it. Girl, get a shirt that says Christ and copays, because you need both. Okay. You can believe in Jesus and go see your therapist. Both. Yeah. Try it out. It's good for you. Trust me.
We have to as parents stop saying do as I do, don't do as I do, do as I say.
Yeah.
We have to
stop. You should stop doing it.
I remember my therapist had said, you know, even my husband coming in, you know, having stepkids, you know, and he's just the type person, like my mom said, do boom, boom, boom. But she said, you know, you were talking about currency, like you cannot just make withdrawals from these children without first depositing something. What are you withdrawing from? So you can't just come in and say, because I'm the adult and these are the kids, do this, take out the trash. What are you depositing into them to withdraw that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the way she broke it down, it was just like, I had to sit back. Even as they're my kids as a mother, like I have to continue to deposit positive things into them, you know,
Yeah.
be able to get out of it. I mean, just small things like that just go a long way.
If there's anything that I can help with, I will say that the things that changed the way that I interact with other people. Yeah, therapy's fine for me, but the way that I interact with other people was a couple of things. So there's this thing, it's called the 5 love languages.
Oh, that's me.
Fire. Like 100% is probably one of the reasons why I do have a marriage that is thriving instead of failing. But it also has 5 love languages for kids. And like 3/5 of my kids are different love languages. And my youngest, he's actually a gifts love language. And people really mistake that for being like, oh, you just want a whole bunch of stuff. No, he likes to hold on to things that you specifically got for him because you were thinking of him. He's the most compassionate child I've ever met in my life, extremely discerning, very kind. He's kind in the middle. But when you give him something, like we can't get him to get rid of nothing. God. But like, anytime I go somewhere, I can get the other one's stuff. It don't matter. But if I get it for him, it's like there's a spark that goes off in him. And what you're doing is, they always tell you, you know, you can't pour from an empty cup. And a friend of mine, she started a whole business around the concept of you need to drink first, then pour. Because you need to make sure that you're full, and then you need to be able to pour into others. So we can't keep filling up the pitcher and pouring it out to everybody else and going back and filling up the pitcher, and we're over here thirsty. But when you get love, you learn how to give love. And learning his love language allowed me to see the love he was trying to give me as a kid. And now, like, my birthday's next week. He is the only kid who is obsessed with what to get me for my birthday. Obsessed. Well, Mom, what have you thought about what you want for your birthday? He's got a job. He's 15. He's pumped. So I was like, you know what? I was thinking the other day, I really want a tea kettle to go on the stove. I've never had one. I really want a pretty one. I was looking through some. I think I left some up on my computer on Target that I was thinking about buying. I don't know if I will, though.
Yeah.
So I kind of think I might
go check your search history.
Right.
But like, for him to do that is going to absolutely fill his tank. And that is going to make me see it in him. And that will absolutely fill my tank. Find out 5lovelanguages.com. I think like the number 5lovelanguages.com. I'm a pub on, they ain't paying me, but have everybody take it and really learn.
And I was the same.
It's a huge,
because I tell people all the time, just because someone doesn't love you the way that you love them doesn't mean that they don't love you with everything they have. Like, I tell them that, like,
oh, Chrissy,
hey, no. So I mean, the 5 love languages.
Both they couches.
I mean, well, I'm gonna be more him. You telling your story, I got a little emotional. Like, damn,
I'm over looking at the
I'm
dog.
like, damn, I'm about to cry, bro. Like, I'm thinking about stuff in my life. Like, shoot, we gotta cut this short. We gotta get up out of here.
Like, boy, I was like, man, I'm just talking about you.
I'm like, bro, you make me cry.
I think that it's important, and people, I've made so many of my friends take that test because I'm a giver, right? People, they used to tell me, I was like, why are you always buying people stuff? Because it makes me feel good. Like, and I hold on to everything. You a pack rat. I keep cards. I keep everything. And then the way that I show mine is to do, and I'm a words of affirmation.
Yep.
You
and
can
see, I'm not, which is crazy.
Yeah, I'm words of affirmation, you know, and so I know my 2 love languages, but I'm saying even relationships is so important because you may think if you're a giver, well, he didn't buy me this, so he didn't love me. That's not his love language.
His love language is quality time, and he spent literally the entire day with you, and you didn't see that because he didn't get you something. But if you knew that, you would see where the love comes. My husband and I, we're opposites. Well, my love language is acts of service, which is a really difficult love language because we tend to scoot forward to receive love from wherever you're going to throw it instead of sitting back and making people work for it. Whereas my husband's love language is physical touch. And a lot of people immediately equate that to sex. But the truth is, it's more if I sit on the couch and I don't sit right next to him, like he's going to come and like lay on me, or he wants to hold my hand, or he wants to be physically connected, because when that is separated, that tells him something's wrong. And he will seek that. And I have to pay attention to it. I have to pay attention to how busy do I get, because my desk sits in our living room. And sometimes I will sit at the desk because we're in the same room. We're spending quality time, but I'm not taking the time to physically be close to him. We're close, But to have that intimate contact with one another, to sit next to each other, for me to lay on him, it makes a world of difference. And I can tell when I have been misaligned and missing the mark on how to fill his tank, because it will come across in him withdrawing, thinking something's wrong. And all it takes is for me to reach over, put my hand on the back of his head and rub his head. You just see him just like it's a different language. And I'm glad that I know how to speak his, because he definitely turns around and sees the fact that I'm at work. And he has, for the last 6-7 months, he's done all of our laundry.
Come through, husband.
If all this laundry's done, like real talk.
Hey, boo, hey.
There's brother. But like, that's the difference for me. You can bring flowers every day. You can mess around and tell me how great this is and blah, blah. Miss me. You mess around and unload a dishwasher? Bruh.
Yeah.
We can talk.
Right.
So, the acts of service, that's it changes who I am, and it makes me love even more. And you're going to be the recipient of that if you learn how to pour in. And it takes time for people to figure that out. It's who we are. Say it again.
Guys, I probably, like, when I say I literally have had all my friends, I tell all about them. So if it was 15
that means
guys,
y'all are next.
Yeah, y'all need to take it. At least 13 out of 15 guys have been physical touch or quality time.
Yep.
Like, it's like an equal balance. Like, those were the top two.
I know that.
But do you want to get into the reason why so many guys are physical touch and quality time?
Let's talk about it.
Because when we're younger, young men learn that men have sex. Everyone learns that young women are things to have sex with. And when a man gets into a relationship and his love language is physical touch and quality time, and he's never had that from anyone, the only person he can receive it from is his girlfriend. Because dudes don't accept physical touch from their dudes. You're not going to get a good hug from your bro.
Right.
Because I'm not going to do that, even though you absolutely should hug people on a regular basis. You're not going to spend quality time with other people because you're worried about what your girl going to think. And when you do, it's a problem because of the way you do it. But the reason why so many people need that physical touch is because that's the only person you're allowed to have physical touch with. And when you have those barriers in that relationship, when you got dudes whose dads won't hug them once they're a certain age, that will mess you up. To where you think, now I have to be with some woman who I can touch whenever and however I want to because she's mine. And that's the only time I can show the love language that I have. And that is really striking and scary to see, because you have a whole bunch of men walking out here emotionally unstable, trying to find somebody to connect to so that they can show their physical touch. And sometimes it's overbearing because they've never been able to express that to anybody else.
Look, I'm just gonna go ahead and say my number one was words of affirmation. So I like to be told, like, hey, you're doing a good job. I like to be told that. My second was physical touch, but I'm probably more so on the lines of your husband. Like, I just like to be like, if we're near, I just like touch my leg, like touch my arm, or do you know what I'm saying? Just something like that.
You wrong. I saw you snicker cue. Cut it out. Let that you let him say that. We'll be in the car.
You might cry. Got somebody who's a good daddy.
We'll be in the car, and at any point we get in the car and one of us does not reach over and touch the other, like, it's just a connection. Connecting to people is normal. It's healthy. It's good for you. This is why kids is messed up now, because don't nobody want to hug these little bad monsters. Hug them. Hug your kids.
But that's also too, like, what you had said earlier, like, because that's some of my things. Like, I do at times think that that's gonna work for my partner, and and she's already said acts of service is her thing too, right? So if I wash the dishes, like, that makes you know what I'm saying? And like you said, I can tell, if I do this, then I get like the words of affirmation. Then I get, I get what so, but, I do feel you too. I'm gonna just kind of touch on real quick, just on a hugging thing too. So,
right. Accuse me of that.
as I was growing up, I mean, really, I can't really remember when's the last time, when I was growing up, I was probably 6, 7, probably the last time I could even remember hearing my dad say he loved me or even like really hug. Now he would show me, and I know my dad shows in a different way, right?
Yeah.
My dad grew up in a different time where,
his paycheck was his proof.
Yes, exactly. So that was another thing, for me personally, I'm one of those, when I recognize that, because I was like, I'm seeking it, like I want, but I learned. So, even to this day, I hug my son, you know what I'm saying? I still kiss my son on the cheek, I kiss him on the forehead. I do all that, you know what I'm saying? And
I randomly kiss mine. Like I'll just randomly hug him and kiss him.
And I think that's like so important. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you. Some things was a little like my brother, right? My older brother. He's really religious now, right? And I can remember, this has probably been about 6, 7 years now. I can remember one day he just, every time he saw me, I would just be like, "Hey, what's up?" And he'd be like, "Nah, give me a hug." And the first time he did it, I was like, "Dude, come on, man!" Like, I was like, "Ah, come on." But now I'm like, when I see him, I go to hug him. It ain't even a thought. Yes. And I've actually like kind of thought to do it to like some of my friends, but more in a way of just like a, with most guys, I may have to break them in like that.
Yeah.
Make them uncomfortable. Get them out.
But I think it's needed. And I just watched the little episode the other day, the podcast with Ocho Cinco and him.
Where he was crying.
Yeah. And they was talking about that. You know what I'm saying? Like Brandon Marshall was talking about how one of his when he was getting saved or whatever at the church, and the dude hugged him, and he said, he hugged me and really like hugged me tight. And he was like, I didn't know how to feel in that moment.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel bad. Like it felt like, okay, like I needed this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how, and I like to say that we should all be strong in, our sexuality as men. If we're not, if we're heterosexual men and that's what we know, hugging another man to say hello or just to be like, "Hey, bro, I care." It shouldn't be a thing.
It should.
Yeah. But
society has made it a thing, though, that if you do that, then you looked at as being a certain type of way.
Yeah.
And that's when we have to break the stigma, and we have to break.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, no, I agree.
When it comes to that, what she said earlier, I don't know if you guys had seen it, but Smokey Norfolk, his 16-year-old son, did you see that? And they ripped him. His son came in there, and I guess he had a long day, whatever, and laid on him and fell asleep. And they was just like, "That is gay. You do not. Why is your son laying on you?" And they were like, "Why are you chastising this man for hugging his son and letting his son? He loves him. He fell asleep on him.
Why are you chastising this man for making his home such a safe space that his grown child felt comfortable enough to fall asleep when he was weary? He insulated him and gave him a safe space. And when he walks back into that space, his guard gets to let down. His happy place is there, and he is comfortable enough in knowing his father loves him to accept that love. Why would we ever see something wrong in that?
And that's the problem with society. Same way they talk about Russell. They ripped this man. And I'm just like, I don't understand.
Well, and I tell people all the time as a photographer, so we're trapped in this digital world to where, we got all these pictures on our phone, we put all these pictures on Facebook. Statistics have shown that when you print pictures of your children and put them on the walls and where your children can see them, you reduce their rates of anxiety, you lessen their chances of being bullied, they have higher self-esteem among their peers. And the reason why is because you've given them a basis of where they belong. You've given them a foundation. Right now, if any of your grandmamas is alive, you could walk into your grandmama's house and there's a picture of you from the 2nd grade and you look a hot mess, but it is in a frame. It's in the tiniest frame ever. And it's on somebody's mantle with all your other cousins. And you can walk in and you know that you belong in it. She ain't gonna update the picture. It's you. Like, I got a picture of him. It's on the wall. You're gonna walk in there. The reason why that's comforting to you is because you know you're supposed to be there. There is a place for you in that space, and it is physically present and telling you that. We have locked these children up digitally. We give them the opportunity to be in a digital world, we don't let them know that they're valuable enough to where we will print your picture out and hang it on our wall to tell the world you belong here.
Girl, I got 38,000 pictures on my phone. I'm about to go print some off tonight.
Print them all.
Print them all. For real. I mean, I have pictures, but we did get away from that. Yep. I still like physical cards. Everything is digital. Like
everything. And now that I've changed into more of a tangible service at my business, like people come in, you're going to pay the session fee, but you're going to come back and you're going to pay for these prints because I'm not going to be responsible. People call me 2 and 3 years later. Hey, you remember that time you took those pictures? I never got a chance to download them. Can you resend them? First of all, I'm not going to lie. It kind of hurts my feelings a little bit because them pictures was fly and you didn't print them. Like, you just expect me to keep your pictures for 3 years? I do, but still. So, but now the way that parents come in and I have all of their babies' pictures just splattered on the wall. The physical gasp when I open up the curtain and every image I took of their baby is in front of it. Like there's tears and there will always be tears because and like you should watch them like touch the images and like hold it. There is something valuable. And the truth is right now, let's say that your parents had your pictures taken every 3 months when you was little. And let's say you go in their house right now and it's on a floppy disk. What you gonna do?
You gonna try to find a way to convert that floppy disk. That's what I would do.
But here's the thing. If you go into your parents' house and you open up a photo album and there's this crinkled old picture of your grandfather, what do you immediately do with it?
I'm gonna take a picture of the picture.
You take it out.
You was almost there.
I take it out.
You take it, you have it professionally framed. You treat it like the antique it is. But we immediately know what to do with pictures.
Yeah.
In 20 years, our children won't know what to do with a USB drive.
Yeah, that's true.
They won't know. And y'all just gonna put all your stuff in the cloud. That's what y'all gonna do. Print these pictures of these babies and preserve these memories. Take the time out. You get one shot. Literally. I mean, Eminem said it, but y'all can listen if you want to. The truth is, like, that's all you get. There's small things you can do right now to ensure that you don't have children who grow up as grown men who feel like they can't hug another grown man. There's stuff you can do right now to ensure that your daughters aren't looking for toxic men because they just got to be a little toxic. There's stuff you can do right now that ensures that your child knows that you love them, knows that you're willing to speak their love language, knows that you're willing to apologize, and you, believe it or not, will be better for it because it's gonna speak your love language to watch them grow. We just got to get better at it. And I think that's what we're all trying to do as a community is to help each other with the tools we have to just get better.
I mean, my kids ain't babies no more, but I'm really trying to come do a photo shoot. Like, I'm already like
on through. I am booking until late May, just in case you were wondering. Holler at your girl, I'll get you on the schedule. But like, you need pictures with your kids now because your kids, you've never been those kids' mom. I tell my 17-year-old, I told him that when he was 6 weeks old, and I tell him now that he's 6 foot. I've never been your 17-year-old mom. You're 17. I've never been your mom right now. You've never been my 17-year-old kid. Neither one of us know what we're doing. We're just gonna keep trying. We get our family pictures made every year. And every year, there is something different about everybody.
Yeah.
And I have, by the grace of God, the ability to look back and say, this was the year that this happened. And you see the difference. You watch their attitudes and your pictures tell you a lot about your kids. It tells you which kid might need a little bit more pull, which one needs a little bit more. Because you get the images back, you'll see who needs what from you because you can physically see it.
I ain't did no family pictures since 2014, man.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Last time I did a family photo, I only had one kid at the time.
I'm about to go FaceTime all my kids.
And I got 7, 8, 9.
Oh,
look.
Hey, I'm all for big families. I mean, long hey, do you? But here's the thing, like, and it doesn't have to be a big deal.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a big, huge expense. Just capture images. But when you capture the images, print them out. There's so many services you can take your cell phone right now, drag
best friends all over Havana. And I'm not gonna lie, it makes me feel good that I'm not here in Atlanta with you, but you think enough of me to put my picture up there because you love me.
Yeah. Well, did you see the movie Coco, the Disney movie?
What was it?
The Disney movie Coco, about the Spanish family, the Latin family. So, you know, Cinco de Mayo, when that comes around and they put up the ofrendas, which are these beautiful, like decadent displays where they cook people's favorite food and they put up their favorite things and their favorite flowers, but they put all of their loved ones who've passed away, they put their picture up because they believe that on Cinco de Mayo, those spirits will come back and be in that space where their pictures are. And if you don't put their picture up, then they don't have a space to come home to, and those souls pass away.
Hey, that's a really good movie, by the way.
That movie will have you in all your feelings. First of all, Pixar, if I find anybody who works for Pixar, y'all got issues. Y'all need therapy because I'm tired. I'm tired of it. Y'all gonna stop throwing everybody out in their feelings. I'm not gonna be in one more movie theater all wet around the face. Stop.
That's right.
They done got me the last couple times. No. But like that was really telling. And you start to think of these traditions. What do you have in your home that you could say the spirit of your child stays there even when your baby's not in the house?
Come on, girl. I'm you know what time is it? I gotta go to sleep.
I'm not calling. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
I put myself out tonight.
She said, "I'm not calling these
I'm not calling though." But
man, Miss.Fish, what do you have coming up next? What do you got? What are you working on right now?
Well, so we are working on the second episode. We're going to try and finish out this season in the next 2 months so we can go ahead and have that ready for everyone. From there, my next move is just really encouraging people this year to invest in their family memories. I have started just loving what I'm doing with tangible results from these photo sessions, and people are just soaking it in leaps and bounds. People are ordering bigger prints. People are making the investment for their memories. It's amazing. But Learn This with Miss.Fish has really turned me into this thought process of, yeah, I don't have little kids that I have to worry about YouTube and 4-year-olds learning it, but I do have friends that have little kids that have that. And if we're a village, if we're a community, then those are my kids too. So you absolutely have to take your talent. You have to take what you have. You have to take who you are. And you have to invest in a way that helps everyone. Everybody has a gift, and we absolutely lose when we don't plug into each other's gifts. So my gift that I'm going to use is the fact that I love and adore children of all ages. And my goal is to make sure that the parents who are facing something that I'm not have me in their corner. And I want to produce amazing work for them so that they're able to really have someone else to rely on to help them with their babies.
Girl, I'm ready for bed.
Well, Miss.Fish, let everybody know where they can find you at on all platforms all across the world.
Absolutely. There's a few. If you're going to be on Instagram, you can come to my Facebook business page, which is at Once Upon a Flash. The YouTube show is at Learn This with Miss.Fish on all platforms, Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook, Once Upon a Flash Photography is my business page. I would absolutely love to have you come and see my work, see what you think, reach out to me. And if you live in the Louisville, Lexington, Cincy, Indy, wherever you want to drive from, because I'll have you here anyway, I would love to capture your family's memories and be the next person to help you with that. But other than that, stay tuned to the YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe. We want to make sure this gets out to everybody. Share the episode. Y'all run that bad boy all the way up. Watch it 15 times because once you have kids, they don't watch anything less than 3 to 7 times at a time. 10-minute episode. We're going to get the next ones out to you real soon. But I absolutely appreciate you all having me on. It has been way too much fun. We should hang out in real life.
Yeah.
Right? Don't be go cards. Don't get it twisted. But I'll show a little Lexington love.
She did. She don't.
Hold on.
Let me do it again. You want me to do it in Spanish? Yeah, there you go. So, hey, I'm just saying that, everybody knows that cardinal birds are just doves dipped in the blood of Jesus. So,
yeah. That's what.
I'll let
girl said. What was her name?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't you speak at foolishness. Cut it out. Stop.
The one that got them in trouble.
No.
Oh, the prostitute. I forgot your name.
What's her name?
I know who you're talking about.
I know Louisville fans know her name.
All I want to say behind that is Y'all still got corrupt arenas, so y'all fix y'all's own problems down the way, and we'll take care of business here.
No. They broke it down and we rebuilt it.
They had to, because all them demons. But anywho, I'm gonna let that.
You right, but it ain't that no more.
Yeah, y'all keep working on that. Y'all let me know how that works. Did they finally get New Circle Road completed with that construction since 1986? I'm just checking.
What?
Hold on now. Look what we're not gonna do. But now we really do appreciate you coming on and spending time with us.
It's been an excellent show.
Yeah, it's been a dope show. We had a lot of fun. JT, you got something you want to say before we get out of here, man?
I just appreciate you coming on the show. I do like the idea of us all getting together. Maybe we can have like a big panel. We've talked about that, trying to get like a big panel of people just to discuss a lot of things in our community. You know, I think it would be great to come on the show when we talk about
Everything.
like
what?
violence and stuff too.
Hey, let's do it. Whatever you need. I've been with family, and I can bring some resources as well. I've got teams over at Family Engagement with JCPS. I've got people in the works that work with Compassionate Schools Projects. I am ready to help wherever I can. So if you want to put on a panel, you want to talk about kids, you want to talk about adults, you want to talk about stuff we can address in our communities, let's do it. Let's be the village. Let's be that the way that we were intended to live together and really, you know, be each other's hands and feet.
I'm gonna inbox you my number. I'm gonna jump in your DM.
Hey, come on, jump on.
You gotta make sure she.
Hey, I'm gonna go on and accept you. I'm gonna accept your friend request. I mean, y'all can try the friend request. But if I ain't met you, you gonna sit in friend purgatory with everybody else. It's fine. I got you though. I'm gonna hit accept when we get off the call. Come on.
Miss Chrissy J, you got something you want to say before we get out of here?
I mean, nothing more than what I've already said. I appreciate it. Like I said, it's not just for children. The things the gems that you are dropping is for everyone. And I mean, I've learned a lot. I'm 42 and I'm sitting over like this. I mean, you know,
You gotta keep learning. If you don't learn, you die. So that's how it works.
What you say about that wisdom and smart? What you say again? I'm gonna go get a print on tomorrow.
Wise instead of smart, because there's dumb kids, smart kids, and wise kids get poured in from the people who got smart around them, and they don't have to make those same mistakes. Shout out Kenneth Cobbs. That's my dad. You know, he was out there teaching back in the day in the 80s. What?
Okay, Daddy.
You really blessed our platform.
No, seriously.
I appreciate all of you genuinely, and anytime reach out, I'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, we love
thank you. Well, everybody tuned in. You can always catch previous shows on the YouTube channel. He Said, She Said Talk. If you don't have time to sit down and watch a show, you can always check us out on all major streaming platforms: Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, etc., etc. We're gonna get on out of here. Thank you, Miss.Fish, again. And as always, we want you to treat somebody how you want somebody to treat your mama. We out of here.
Hey, take care.